We knew that we were going to spend six figures growing our company in one direction or the other. And here's the story of how we came to the conclusion of how we were going to scale our business. If you're watching this, chances are you're looking up how to scale yours. And there are lots of options out there for the best ways to continue growing your company, because all of us want to make more money and all of us want to maximize on different ways that we can grow. For us, we had to come to the place where we decided, are we going to build more brick and mortars? Are we going to franchise our company? Or are we going to sell, exit, and do something totally different? We had friends that did that, and so that was enticing for a little bit. They actually operated a coffee company that was really successful, sold for 1.5 million, and then went into real estate and have since switched to like an entirely different Airbnb model. And it's been really cool watching their journey. And of course, we kind of watched it. We're like, is that an option for us? But a couple years ago, we found ourselves sitting at the table deciding, how do we want to grow? Do we want to increase our catering efforts? Do we want to go all the way across America? Where are our current profit margins? What's really working? Do we want to build our cafe space, the brand that's in the brick and mortars? And if so, how are we going to expand to more locations? In order to get to this cafe space, we as the owners had to personally guarantee all of our assets to finish out this lease, which if you're a business owner, you know the feeling. Like, it's really scary to sign your life away. You know, like if this doesn't work out, you can have my house and my car and my kids and all this stuff. But there comes a point in business ownership where you just say, okay, this is worth the risk and we're going to make it happen. Like, we're going to force this thing to happen. And so both my husband and I were on the same page. We said, okay, we're going to figure it out. Let's do it. And we signed that lease. We have since paid off the SBA loan that was required to build that. And we were so happy about the growth of our company and saying, okay, this was awesome. How are we going to expand into more corporate locations? We started looking into, reaching out to investors. And actually, if you're looking to expand, there's a really awesome company called Homegrown that actually specializes in brick and mortars. I think they require you have 2 or 3 locations before you can apply. But if you apply with them, they fund you similarly to an SBA, but with an interest rate that isn't on a sliding scale. And you pay based on your revenue. So if your revenue, you pay like a 6% of your revenue, whether you have a good month or a bad month, it's 6% instead of like locking into like an SBA payment that's always $3,400. And so if you're looking to scale your brick and mortars, this is a company that's new that is specializing in scaling brick and mortar restaurants. It's called Homegrown. I'm not sponsored by them. I just really enjoyed my conversations with them. And I'd encourage you to take a listen to what they have to offer. But we were in this place. Are we going to expand our corporate locations? And if so, what does that look like? For us, because we have now for 5 years worked really hard to risk everything and then pay it off, we got to this place where we were like, I don't want to personally guarantee anything anymore. Like, we finally paid things off. We finally were able to separate our personal assets from our business assets and have the business operating as its own entity. And that's been like a huge win. And the thought of going into multiple corporate locations where we're having to guarantee the finances, honestly just felt like, okay, this is more risky than we want to do it, than we want to go. And restaurant build outs can cost upwards of $500,000. And so we're talking, 2 or 3 more locations. That's $1.5 million that we are, kind of wrapping our minds around. And so that was an idea, and we parked it. We explored it. We even went to go look at other locations and trying to figure out the variables of how much square footage would we actually need and what actually supports our model, because we're a very community-based company. But then the best cafes are the ones that are to-go kitchens, because the best cafes when it comes to profit margin are the ones that are to-go kitchens, but it doesn't really quite fit our values. And so we were wrestling all this stuff when it came to expanding more corporate locations. So we parked that thought there. We obviously entertained the idea of exiting because, like I shared, our friends had become millionaires and started real estate, and we were like, entrepreneurship is fun. We could do whatever we want. But we landed on we've worked really hard on building this. We don't want to just leave it. And so we parked that exiting option there. And then we heard the F word. We heard about franchising. And we were like, okay, let's explore this option. We knew nothing about franchising. I actually ended up finding a law firm from YouTube called Inner Nicola Law Firm. And this is a company that specializes in launching franchisors. In other words, you're a restaurant company becoming a franchisor so that people can buy your business model from you and operate as franchisees or owner operators. And so little did I know that this journey would be a year long in the making, because when you decide to become a franchisor, you have to meet with lawyers to create operators manuals, and you have to create your FDD, your franchise disclosure document. If you Google what's the cost of becoming a franchisor, you'll see it says anywhere from like $22,000 to like $350,000, because the cost of getting all of the legal documents and getting the paperwork set up so that you're able to franchise is just extensive. And there's a lot that you can do on your own, but you kind of risk doing it illegally or doing it in a way that could get you in trouble later. And we didn't want to do it wrong. And so we were going to take the high road, which is more expensive. But we knew at this point in our company, in order for us to grow, we're going to have to spend money in one direction. We're either taking out a 6-figure to 7-figure loan to become franchisors, or we're taking out a 6-figure, 7-figure loan to expand to corporate locations. Which one do we want to do? What makes the most sense for our family? What makes the most sense for our growth model? And for us, because we were looking at our own profit margins and our own experience, we leaned into the coffee cart model. And so we decided to go into franchising. Originally, we thought about franchising the cafe and the carts, but we've since landed, because commercial real estate is so expensive. And like I said, our values are more communal, and the idea of doing a to-go kitchen or just a drive-through seemed not as exciting to us. We completely got rid of the cafe franchise idea and have fully leaned into Quigley Coffee Carts, which has been really our model from the beginning. So in January of 2026, we began our franchising journey and have launched an Orlando coffee cart to these incredible owner-operators who are absolutely crushing it, and to a Jacksonville coffee cart to another woman who is really, really working hard to get her clientele built. And now we're looking to franchise coffee carts that are plug and play in 90 days all over the country. And if you're interested, we'd love to connect with you, and you can click the link below to schedule an introductory call, just a 15-minute, no pressure call where we can get to know your story. Thank you so much for watching. I pray that as you're scaling your business, you get excited about the opportunities that are possible, and make sure that you like and subscribe so you can follow our franchise journey as we build our company in real time. We'll see you in our next video.